Hello guys, welcome to Ben 10 What If. So in this video, we will see what if Ben 10 vs Goku, who would win. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1, When Worlds Collide, You've Gotta Be Kidding Me, Ben Tennyson muttered, slamming his hand down on the Omnitrix. The familiar green flash enveloped his body as DNA rewrote itself. Humongosaur. The 12-foot dinosaur-like alien roared as he charged toward the robot drone swarming Bellwood's downtown plaza. Just another Tuesday for the 17-year-old hero. 3 years since his summer road trip with Grandpa Max, and alien threats still couldn't leave his town alone. Hey tin cans! Ben shouted, grabbing the nearest drone and using it as a makeshift club. Don't you guys ever take a day off? I was supposed to meet Kevin and Gwen for smoothies. The lead drone, larger than the others with pulsing red circuitry, hovered above the chaos. Target identified, Tennyson, Benjamin. Surrender the Omnitrix. Yeah. Like I haven't heard that before. Ben grew another 15 feet, muscles bulging as he maximized Humongosaur's size. Let's wrap this up quick. He slammed his fist into the concrete, sending a shockwave that toppled half the drone squad. The vibrations triggered car alarms up and down the block. Civilians had already cleared the area, Bellwood residents knew the drill by now. Ben grabbed a lamppost, ripped it from the ground, and swung it in a wide arc, batter up. 3 more drones shattered against the makeshift weapon. The lead drone responded by firing a barrage of energy blasts that peppered Ben's thick hide. Ow! Okay, that stings. Ben tossed the bent lamppost aside. Time to try something with a little more spark. He slapped the Omnitrix symbol on his chest. Another flash of green. Feedback. The black and white alien grinned, plugs dangling from his fingertips. Now we're talking. Ben extended his antennae toward the nearest electrical junction box, drawing power until electricity crackled across his body. The drones concentrated their fire, but he simply absorbed their energy blasts, growing stronger. Thanks for the power-up. Ben laughed, pointing his fingers at the lead drone. Here, have it back. Lightning erupted from his fingertips, blasting the lead drone backward through the glass window of a department store. The remaining drones scattered, attempting to regroup. Oh no you don't. Ben launched himself forward, plugs connecting to drone after drone, shorting out their systems. The lead drone burst from the shattered window, circuit sparking. Initiating dimensional displacement protocol. Dimensional what now? A swirling vortex opened behind Ben, its pull immediate and violent. Debris, broken drones, and shattered glass flew toward the pulsing tear in reality. Whoa! Ben dug feedback's plugs into the ground, anchoring himself. This is new. The lead drone's voice distorted as its systems failed. If we cannot obtain the Omnitrix, then neither shall this dimension. Great, a sore loser. Ben strained against the portal's pull. His anchors began to tear from the concrete. Need something heavier. He slapped the Omnitrix again. Gravitack. His body transformed into a living planetoid, manipulating gravitational forces to resist the vortex. The remaining drones were sucked in, vanishing into the swirling light. That's right. Nobody outgravities Gravitack. Ben laughed, before noticing the portal growing larger, its pull intensifying. Oh. He increased his gravitational field, causing the pavement to crack beneath him. For a moment, it seemed to work, until the Omnitrix began flashing yellow. No. Not now. The familiar beeping preceded a timeout, green light washing over him as he reverted to human form. Without Gravitack's powers, nothing held Ben back from the portal's pull. This is gonna suck, he yelled as he was yanked off his feet. Ben tumbled through blinding light, a weightless sensation overtaking him. He reached desperately for the Omnitrix, but the vortex's chaotic energies made focusing impossible. Come on, give me XLR8. Clockwork. Anything. He slammed his palm against the device repeatedly, but it remained in recharge mode, the hourglass symbol a stubborn red. The light intensified until Ben couldn't see anything else. Then, just as suddenly, he was falling through open air. Gah! He plummeted toward what looked like a rocky wasteland, mountains, craters, and not a single soft landing spot in sight. The ground rushed up to meet him. This would be a really good time for the watch to start working again. Ben shouted, still frantically tapping the Omnitrix. 3 seconds from impact, the device flashed green. Ben slammed it down without looking. Big chill. Ghostly blue wings unfurled just before impact. Ben pulled up sharply, his intangible form skimming inches above the rocky terrain before he solidified and tumbled to a stop. Ugh! Ben groaned, rising to his feet and dusting himself off. Cutting it a little close there, aren't we? He surveyed his surroundings, a desolate landscape of rock formations and distant mountains under a strangely purplish sky. No buildings, no roads, nothing resembling Bellwood. Definitely not Kansas anymore. Ben folded his moth-like wings. Or Earth, maybe. A distant explosion caught his attention. Smoke rose from beyond a ridge about a mile away. Well, when in doubt, head toward the explosions. Ben took to the air, his ghostly form gliding toward the disturbance. At least some things stay the same across dimensions. Goku wiped sweat from his brow, his orange GI already showing the strain of the morning's training. The rocky wasteland outside West City had become his favorite spot, far enough from civilization that he didn't have to worry about collateral damage. One more time, he told himself, settling into his stance. Then I'll break for lunch. Energy surged through him as he focused his ki. The familiar tingling sensation built from his core outward, his hair beginning to rise as golden light flickered around his body. Hiya! His hair flashed gold, standing upright as his eyes shifted from black to teal. The Super Saiyan transformation complete, Goku launched into a series of punches and kicks that shattered boulders and left impact craters in the landscape. Each movement flowed into the next, techniques honed through decades of training and countless battles. He teleported from point to point using instant transmission, striking invisible opponents before they could react. Too slow, he shouted to himself, increasing his speed until his movements became nearly invisible. Suddenly, Goku froze mid-punch. Something felt off. A disturbance in the energy around him, like ripples in a calm pond. He powered down from Super Saiyan, hair returning to its natural black as he focused on sensing the anomaly. That's weird. He looked skyward, scanning for the source. It doesn't feel like ki, not exactly. The disturbance grew stronger. Goku had felt many types of energy in his life, ki from countless warriors, godly energy, even the destructive power of Beerus and other deities. This was different, foreign yet somehow familiar. Better check it out. He closed his eyes, placing 2 fingers to his forehead to lock onto the energy signature. Before he could teleport, the sky above him tore open. A swirling vortex of light and energy appeared, its edges crackling with power. Whoa! Goku jumped back, dropping into a defensive stance. That's new. The portal pulsed, energy reading spiking wildly. Goku sensed something, someone, coming through. Hello? He called out, curiosity overriding caution. Anyone there? The vortex flashed brilliantly, then vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving only a dissipating energy signature that Goku could track. Huh. He scratched his head. Whatever came through landed about a mile that way. Goku grinned, his Saiyan blood stirring at the prospect of something new. Might as well check it out before lunch. He lifted into the air, golden energy surrounding him as he flew toward the energy signature. Chi-Chi's gonna be mad if I'm late again, though. Ben glided over the ridge, still in big chill form. The source of the explosion became clear, a man floating in mid-air, surrounded by golden energy, demolishing rock formations with bare hands. Whoa! Ben hovered, staying out of sight. Either that's one angry human with superpowers, or this dimension has its own heavy hitters. He watched as the man, spiky black hair, orange martial arts uniform, moved faster than Ben's eyes could track, appearing and disappearing around the wasteland. Definitely not normal. Ben considered his options. I could try talking to him, but that lightning aura doesn't exactly scream friendly. The decision was made for him when the man suddenly stopped, looking directly toward Ben's position despite his intangibility. I know you're there, the man called out. No use hiding. I can sense your energy. So much for the stealth approach. Ben sighed, letting himself become visible as he floated down to a nearby boulder. Hey there. Nice light show you've got going. The man tilted his head, studying Ben's alien form with more curiosity than alarm. You're not from around here, are you? I've met lots of aliens, but never one like you. I could say the same about you. Ben kept his distance. Most humans I've met can't fly or punch through mountains. The man laughed, a surprisingly warm sound. I'm Goku. And I'm actually a scion, not a human. Well, raised on Earth, but scion by birth. What now? Scion. We're a warrior race from planet Vegeta. Goku scratched the back of his head. It's kind of a long story. Ben weighed his options. The Omnitrix would time out eventually, and he'd rather not be mid-air when that happened. I'm Ben Tennyson. He descended to the ground. And before you ask, I'm not actually a giant moth creature. It's complicated. I like complicated. Goku landed a few yards away, his aura dissipating. You came through that portal, right? Are you from another dimension? Looks that way. Ben tapped the Omnitrix symbol. Let's talk face to face. Green light flashed, and Ben returned to human form, brown hair, green jacket, jeans, and the Omnitrix prominently displayed on his wrist. Goku's eyes widened. Whoa! You transformed. Just like that. Are you some kind of shapeshifter? Sort of. Ben held up his wrist. The Omnitrix lets me transform into different alien species. I've got about 70 of them now. 70. Goku whistled. That's amazing. I've only got a few transformations myself. Super Saiyan God, Ultra Instinct. Ben nodded, trying to act like those terms meant something to him. So, this is Earth. Just, a different Earth? Yep. Though we're pretty far from the cities right now. Goku gestured around at the wasteland. This is my training ground. Training, huh? Ben looked at the shattered boulders and impact craters. Seems intense. It helps me get stronger. Goku's face lit up with enthusiasm. Say, you seem pretty strong yourself with all those transformations. Wanna spar? Ben blinked. Spar. I just got pulled through a dimensional portal, and you want to fight? Just for fun. Goku was practically bouncing with excitement. I love meeting strong opponents. I'm not really. Ben's explanation was cut short as the ground beneath them trembled. A second portal tore open in the sky, larger than the first. Energy crackled around its edges, lightning striking the ground below. That doesn't look good. Ben readied the Omnitrix. Goku's expression turned serious. Something's coming through. Something powerful. From the portal emerged a massive spacecraft, sleek, purple, and unmistakable to Ben. Vilgax, he growled. Great. Dimensional travel wasn't bad enough. Goku glanced at him. Friend of yours? More like my arch-nemesis. Ben twisted the Omnitrix dial. He's after this watch. Has been since I was 10. Well, he picked the wrong dimension to follow you to. Goku's aura flared to life. I don't take kindly to uninvited guests causing trouble. The ship hovered ominously, weapon systems tracking their position. Get ready, Ben warned. Vilgax doesn't do subtle. As if on cue, the ship's main cannon charged with crimson energy. A devastating beam fired downward, vaporizing the ground where they had stood seconds before. Goku had moved faster than Ben could track, while Ben had barely managed to activate the Omnitrix. Jet ray. The red, manta ray-like alien shot skyward, avoiding a second blast. Hey, ugly. Remember me? Goku appeared beside him in the air. Fast transformation. Thanks. Amphibian DNA, good for aerial combat. Ben fired neuroshock blasts from his eyes and tail, striking the ship's hull. These usually pack more punch. Let me try. Goku cupped his hands at his side. Blue energy gathered between his palms. Ka. Me. Ha. Me. Ben's eyes widened. The energy reading was off the charts. Hiya. A massive beam of blue energy erupted from Goku's hands, colliding with the ship's shields. The barrier flickered but held. Tough ship, Goku noted. Vilgax doesn't skimp on defenses. Ben circled around, looking for weakness. We need to. The ship's hangar doors opened. Dozens of drones poured out, similar to the ones Ben had fought in Bellwood but with modifications. Looks like we've got company. Goku grinned, cracking his knuckles. I'll take the left, you take the right. Ben suggested. Works for me. They split apart as the drone swarm attacked. Ben weaved through energy blasts, returning fire with precision neuroshock beams. Each hit disabled a drone, sending it plummeting toward the wasteland below. Goku, meanwhile, tore through his half of the swarm with bare hands. His movements were almost too fast to follow, punching through metal hulls, redirecting energy blasts, and occasionally disintegrating drones with small ki blasts. Is this the best your nemesis can do? Goku called out, sounding almost disappointed. Not even close, Ben replied. This is just the welcoming committee. As if summoned by his words, a larger figure emerged from the ship. 8 feet tall, with green skin, tentacled face, and bulking muscles covered in armor, Vilgax stood at the edge of his vessel, red eyes scanning the battlefield. Tennyson, his voice boomed across the wasteland. Did you think you could escape me through dimensions? Honestly? Ben fired a parting shot at the last drone in his section. I didn't think about you at all. I was kinda busy falling through a portal. Vilgax growled, leaping from his ship. The impact when he landed created a small crater. Goku finished the last drone and floated down to land beside Ben, who had transformed back to human form. So that's Vilgax. Goku studied the alien conqueror. He's big. Ben Tennyson. Vilgax bellowed, stalking forward. Surrender the Omnitrix, and I might spare this dimension from conquest. Yeah, not happening. Ben scrolled through his alien roster. Same song, different dimension. Vilgax paused, noticing Goku. And who is this? Another of Earth's pathetic defenders. Goku smiled, but there was steel behind it. I'm Goku. And you're trespassing on my world. Your world. Vilgax laughed. This world, like all others, will soon bow to Vilgax. Man, does he always talk about himself in the third person? Goku whispered to Ben. Pretty much. Villain 101. Ben selected an alien. Ready to show him how we do things around here. Well, around our respective, hey race. After you, Goku gestured. Ben slammed down the Omnitrix. Diamond Head. His body transformed into a crystalline humanoid with sharp edges and gleaming surfaces. Let's see how your weapons handle Petrosapian crystal, Vilgax. Vilgax sneered, drawing a massive sword that hummed with energy. That form couldn't save you before, and it won't save you now. He charged forward, blade raised high. Ben raised his arms, transforming them into crystal blades of his own. The weapons clashed with a shower of sparks and a sound like scraping glass. Your skills have improved, Tennyson, Vilgax admitted, pressing his advantage with superior strength. But not enough. A kick to Ben's midsection sent him sliding backward. Before he could recover, Vilgax was on him again, blade slashing downward. Ben crossed his crystal arms, blocking the strike but suffering a crack across his chest. Okay, that hurt, Ben grunted. Suddenly Goku was there, catching Vilgax's sword arm mid-swing with one hand. Mind if I cut in? Goku grinned. Vilgax stared in shock. What are you? Told you. I'm Goku. His grip tightened until the alien warlord's armor began to crack. And I don't like bullies. With a casual flick, Goku sent Vilgax flying. The warlord crashed through 3 rock formations before skidding to a stop nearly half a mile away. Ben stared. Okay, that was impressive. He's tougher than he looks. Goku rolled his shoulder. His energy signature is strange. He's enhanced himself with alien tech and DNA for years. Ben reformed his cracked chest. Never stays down for long. Right on cue, Vilgax emerged from the dust cloud, armor damaged but expression more intrigued than defeated. Interesting, the warlord called out. This dimension harbors warriors of note after all. You don't know the half of it. Goku's aura flared gold again. Want to see something cool? His muscles bulged as power surged through him. With a shout, his hair stood upright, turning golden as his eyes shifted to teal. The transformation generated a shockwave that cracked the ground beneath him. This is a Super Saiyan, Goku explained, golden energy crackling around him. Even Ben took a step back. Whoa! Vilgax's eyes narrowed. Your light show doesn't impress me, Saiyan. No. Goku vanished from sight. He reappeared behind Vilgax, tapping the warlord's shoulder. Vilgax swung around with a roar, his fist passing through empty air as Goku teleported again. Too slow, Goku taunted, now floating above him. Vilgax fired I-beams that Goku casually deflected with one hand. The redirected energy carved a trench in the ground nearby. Ben! Goku called. He's all yours. Before Vilgax could track the Scion's movements, Goku delivered a kick that sent him hurtling toward Ben. The Petrosapian smiled, hands transforming into a massive crystal hammer. Batter up. Ben swung with all his might. The impact sent Vilgax skyward. Ben followed up by firing crystal shards that peppered the warlord's body, finding gaps in his damaged armor. Goku appeared above the airborne Vilgax, hands clasped together. And, down you go. The double-handed strike sent Vilgax crashing into the ground with meteoric force, creating a crater 30 feet wide. Did that do it? Ben asked, jogging up to the edge of the impact zone. The dust cleared to reveal Vilgax, bloodied but conscious, pushing himself to his feet. His armor was shattered, but the look in his eyes wasn't defeat, it was calculation. Your partnership is unexpected, Vilgax growled, spitting green blood. But it changes nothing. Give it up, Vilgax, Ben warned. You're outmatched here. Am I? The warlord smiled, revealing sharp teeth. Or perhaps I'm exactly where I need to be. Before either hero could respond, another portal opened, not from Vilgax's ship, but from the air itself. A cold, modulated laugh echoed from within. Right on time, Vilgax said. From the portal emerged a figure that made Goku's expression harden instantly, white and purple bioarmor, a long tail, and cold eyes filled with malice. Frieza. Goku's aura flared brighter. Hello, monkey, Frisia's smooth voice carried across the battlefield. Miss me? Ben glanced between Goku and the newcomer. Friend of yours? Definitely not. Goku's voice had lost all its earlier cheerfulness. Frisia's the most dangerous tyrant in the universe. My reputation precedes me. Frisia laughed, descending to hover beside Vilgax. Though I'm curious how you recognized me in this form. We've made some upgrades since our last encounter. Ben noticed it now, technological components integrated into Frisia's bioarmor, pulsing with the same energy as Vilgax's weapons. Vilgax tech, Ben realized. You two are working together. A partnership of necessity, Frisia confirmed. When the barriers between dimensions began to weaken, we found ourselves communicating. Sharing technology. Ideas. Preparing, Vilgax added. For what? Ben demanded. Why, for this moment, of course. Frisia gestured to the heroes. The great Goku and the wielder of the Omnitrix, together in one place. How convenient. Goku and Ben exchanged glances. The situation had just gotten significantly more complicated. I'm guessing this Frisia guy is bad news? Ben asked. He's destroyed planets for fun, Goku replied, not taking his eyes off the tyrants. Wiped out my entire race. Charming. Ben tapped the Omnitrix symbol on his chest. Let's try something with more firepower. Atomix. Green light flashed, revealing a hulking mechanical alien with glowing green energy cores throughout its body. HMENA. Nuclear energy gathered between Ben's hands. Nuclear winner. The blast rocketed toward the villains, while Goku simultaneously launched a Kamehameha wave. The combined attacks should have vaporized everything in their path. Instead, they splashed harmlessly against a purple energy shield. What the? Ben didn't finish his sentence. Frisia laughed. Did you think we came unprepared? Vilgax's technology, combined with my natural abilities, creates quite the formidable defense. Indeed. Vilgax had recovered enough to stand tall again. And now, it's our turn. The warlord raised his arm, revealing a device similar to the Omnitrix but cruder, with pulsing red energy. At the same time, Frisia's technological components glowed with matching energy. The Nematrix prototype, Ben realized with horror. But how? Your predator transformations, merged with Frisia's DNA. Vilgax smiled cruelly. Shall we demonstrate? Before either hero could react, both villains activated their devices. Energy coursed between them, creating a swirling vortex of red and purple power. When it cleared, what stood before them defied description, a chimeric fusion of Vilgax's bulk and Frisia's bioarmor, crackling with predatory energy. What, are you? Goku's voice betrayed his shock. We are beyond names now, the fused being replied, its voice a disturbing overlay of both villains. But you may call us Apex. Ben charged another nuclear blast. Whatever you call yourself, you're going down. The attack struck Apex directly, and was absorbed into its body. Thank you for the energy donation. Apex flexed its clawed hands. Allow us to return it. A beam of concentrated power erupted from its palm, striking Ben before he could react. The force sent him flying backward, the Omnitrix timing out from the damage as he reverted to human form. Ben! Goku teleported to catch him before he hit the ground. You okay? Been better, Ben groaned, the Omnitrix blinking red. Need a minute to recharge. I'll buy you time. Goku set him down gently. Just sit tight. The Scion turned to face Apex, his golden aura intensifying. You want to fight? You've got one. Goku charged, moving faster than Ben could track. His fists connected with Apex's body in rapid succession, each impact creating a shockwave that Ben felt even at a distance. But Apex didn't budge. It stood motionless, absorbing the blows as if they were nothing more than gentle taps. Disappointing, Apex said when Goku paused. We expected more from the legendary Super Saiyan. A casual backhand sent Goku crashing through a mountain. The entire formation collapsed, burying him under tons of rock. Goku. Ben tried to stand, but his body protested. The Omnitrix remained stubbornly red. Apex turned its attention to Ben. The Omnitrix will be ours. Then we shall absorb every transformation in your arsenal, becoming truly unstoppable across all dimensions. Not gonna happen. Ben checked the Omnitrix. Still recharging. He needed to stall. So what's your endgame here? Merge dimensions. Rule the multiverse. The usual megalomaniac stuff. Such limited thinking. Apex stalked closer. We seek not to rule, but to consume. Every dimension, every reality, all power will be ours. Yeah, that tracks. Ben backed away. Classic villain monologue. You guys really need new material. The ground behind Apex exploded upward. Goku emerged, his GI torn but his determination undiminished. However, something had changed, his hair had grown longer, crackling with even more intense energy, and electricity sparked around his aura. Super Saiyan 2, he announced, dusting himself off. Let's try this again. Apex turned. Another transformation. How many do you possess, Saiyan? Enough. Goku vanished again. This time when he struck, Apex actually moved, sliding backwards several feet from the impact. Goku pressed his advantage, teleporting around the fused being too quickly to track, landing blows from every angle. Ben watched in amazement as Goku's power tore into Apex. The fusion's perfect composure cracked as it tried unsuccessfully to track Goku's movements. Stand still. Apex roared, firing energy blasts that Goku easily avoided. The Omnitrix beeped, turning green again. Ben grinned. About time. He considered his options. Atomix's energy attacks had been absorbed. He needed something different. Come on, Omnitrix. Give me something good. Ben twisted the dial, cycling through alien profiles. Got it. He slammed down the core. Alien X. Ben's form shifted to a humanoid silhouette of the night sky, stars twinkling within his body. Cosmic power radiated from him as the personality of Serena and Bellicus awakened within his mind. Motion to help the Scion defeat the dimensional threat, Ben immediately stated to the internal council. Motion carried, Serena's voice echoed in his mind. For once, we agree, Bellicus added gruffly. This fusion abomination threatens the cosmic balance. With full control granted, Alien X rose into the air. Goku paused his assault, sensing the immense power now emanating from Ben. Whoa! The Scion hovered nearby. That's some transformation. Celestialsapian, Ben explained, his voice echoing with cosmic power. Reality manipulation at its finest. Apex looked up, genuine concern crossing its features for the first time. The Omnitrix contains a Celestialsapian. Impossible. Nothing's impossible for Alien X. Ben raised a hand. Let's see how you handle this. Space itself bent around Apex, gravity intensifying 1,000-fold. The fusion crashed to its knees, struggling against forces beyond physical strength. Now, Goku. Ben called out. Understanding. Immediately, Goku cupped his hands at his side. The Kamehameha formed, but larger than before, feeding off the cosmic energy Ben was channeling into the environment. Ka, me, ha, me, ha. The enhanced beam struck Apex with planet-shattering force. The fusion roared in pain as its body began to destabilize, red and purple energy separating. No. Vilgax's voice emerged from the fusion. We cannot be defeated. The absorption field. Frisia's voice overlapped. Redirect it. Apex thrust its hands forward. Instead of being destroyed by the combined assault, it began drawing power from it, cosmic energy and ki alike flowing into its body. It's feeding off our attacks. Goku shouted, ceasing his Kamehameha. Ben lowered his hands, the gravity field dissipating. This isn't working. Apex laughed, its body glowing with absorbed power. Fools. Every attack makes us stronger. A flash of blue light interrupted its gloating. Two figures appeared on the battlefield, one, a man in a lab coat and goggles, the other, a tall blue-skinned being with a staff and elaborate robes. That's quite enough of that, the man in the lab coat said, adjusting his goggles. Indeed, agreed the blue being. This has gone far enough. Professor Paradox. Ben recognized the time traveler immediately. Whis. Goku looked equally surprised. Apex turned to the newcomers. More insects to crush? I think not. Paradox checked his pocket watch. Whis, if you would. The blue being tapped his staff on the ground. Time stopped, for everyone except Paradox, Whis, Ben, and Goku. There, Whis said pleasantly. That gives us a moment to explain. Ben reverted from Alien X to human form, the cosmic personalities retreating. Professor, what's going on? How did Vilgax and Frisia merge like that? And how do you two know each other? Goku added, powering down from Super Saiyan 2. Paradox and Whis exchanged glances. We have mutual interests in maintaining the stability of our respective dimensions, Paradox explained. When the barriers began weakening, we consulted. What Paradox means, Whis clarified, is that the dimensional walls should never have thinned enough for this crossing to occur. Something, or someone, is manipulating events. Vilgax and Frisia are merely pawns, Paradox added. Powerful pawns, but pawns nonetheless. In what game? Ben asked. That, said Whis, is what we're trying to determine. Goku walked over to Ben, extending his hand. Looks like we're on the same side after all. Ben shook it, smiling despite the circumstances. Looks like it. Sorry about the rough introduction. Are you kidding? That was fun. Goku laughed. I've never fought alongside someone who can change forms like that. Your powers are amazing. Says the guy who can blow up mountains with his pinky, Ben retorted good-naturedly. Paradox cleared his throat. As touching as this budding friendship is, we have larger concerns. The dimensional breach is spreading. What happens if it keeps spreading? Ben asked. Collision, Whis said grimly. Total dimensional collapse. Both your realities, and countless others, would cease to exist. That sounds bad, Goku observed. Very bad, Paradox confirmed. We need to locate the source and seal it, but that will require both of you working together. What about them? Ben nodded toward the frozen form of Apex. We'll separate them and contain them temporarily, Whis explained. But they're not the true threat. Paradox checked his watch again. We don't have much time. When Whis releases the temporal hold, you must both come with us. The fate of your dimensions depends on it. No pressure or anything, Ben muttered. Goku grinned. Sounds like an adventure. I'm in. Do I have a choice? Ben asked. There are always choices, Benjamin, Paradox replied. But in this case, all paths but one lead to oblivion. Right. Ben sighed. Save the multiverse it is. Again. Whis raised his staff. Prepare yourselves. Time will resume in 3, 2, 1. The staff tapped the ground. Time lurched forward, but instead of Apex continuing its attack, a blinding light enveloped everything. Ben felt himself being pulled through space, Paradox's hand firmly on his shoulder guiding him through the dimensional current. The last thing he heard was Apex's roar of frustration as its prey escaped, leaving behind a wasteland that suddenly seemed very small compared to the cosmic game being played across dimensions. "Welcome," Paradox announced as the light faded, "to what I like to call the crossroads." Ben and Goku found themselves standing in a strange, crystalline chamber. The walls reflected infinite variations of themselves, some where Ben was older, others where Goku wore different clothing or had features they didn't recognize. "What is this place?" Goku asked, turning in circles to take it all in. "A nexus point between dimensions," Whis explained. "One of very few stable ones remaining." Ben walked to the nearest wall, studying his reflections. "So each of these is a different dimension?" "Precisely." Paradox approached a central console, a column of swirling energy contained within crystal. "From here, we can monitor the breakdown." He waved his hand. The crystal displayed a map of multiple universes, represented as overlapping spheres. Several were pulsing red, moving dangerously close to one another. "These are your home dimensions," Whis pointed to two of the spheres. "As you can see, they're being drawn together." "What's causing it?" Ben asked. Paradox manipulated the display, zooming in on a dark spot where several dimensions seemed to be connected. "We believe it's him." The image resolved to show a shadowy figure, humanoid but with features that shifted constantly, as if unable to maintain a single form. "Who is that?" Goku leaned closer. "He calls himself Lord Zenith," Whis said. "A being from beyond the dimensions we monitor. He possesses the ability to travel between realities naturally," Paradox added. "And he feeds on conflict energy." "Conflict energy?" Ben raised an eyebrow. "The power generated when powerful beings fight," Whis explained. "Particularly beings from different dimensions. The energy released is unique. And apparently quite delicious, if you're a transdimensional parasite," Paradox said dryly. Goku crossed his arms. "So this Zenith guy engineered everything? The portals, Vilgax and Frisia working together. All to get us to fight," Ben realized. "But why us specifically?" Paradox and Whis exchanged glances again. "Because you two represent something special," Whis said carefully. "Potential unlimited by conventional boundaries. Ben, your Omnitrix contains the DNA of countless species, allowing you transformative abilities beyond any natural being," Paradox explained. "And Goku, your Scion heritage combined with your unique spirit gives you virtually unlimited growth potential," Whis continued. "You've already surpassed gods. The conflict energy generated by your battle would have been." Paradox paused, searching for the right word. "A feast," Whis finished. "Enough to increase Zenith's power exponentially." "But we didn't really fight," Ben pointed out. "Not seriously, anyway." "Which is why he manipulated Vilgax and Frisia," Paradox said. "To force the issue." Goku scratched his head. "So what do we do now?" "Now," Whis said, tapping his staff, "you prepare." The crystal chamber shifted, one wall opening to reveal what looked like a training area, part dojo, part laboratory. "Zenith will not stop," Paradox warned. "He will continue manipulating events, drawing you into conflict, until he gets what he wants." "Or until we stop him," Ben said. "Precisely." Paradox smiled. "Which will require you to work together rather than against each other." "Sounds good to me." Goku's enthusiasm was undiminished. "I can teach Ben some key control, and maybe he can show me how that watch works." "That's not exactly how the Omnitrix functions," Ben started. "We'll leave you to get acquainted properly," Whis interrupted. "Time passes differently here. You'll have what you need to prepare." "Where are you going?" Ben asked. "To secure your dimensions against further incursions," Paradox replied. "And to learn more about Zenith's plans." "We shall return soon," Whis promised. "In the meantime, do try not to destroy the crossroads. It's one of very few neutral spaces left." With that, the two-dimensional guardians vanished in flashes of light, Paradox's blue, Whiz's purple. Ben and Goku stood awkwardly for a moment. So. Ben finally broke the silence. "Wanna see more of my aliens?" Goku's face lit up like a child at Christmas. "Yes. And I can show you Super Saiyan 3. As they moved toward the training area, the reflections in the crystal walls shifted, showing countless variations of their partnership across dimensions. In some, they fought side by side against familiar enemies. In others, they taught each other techniques that neither had considered. In all of them, they stood united against the growing darkness that threatened to consume every reality they called home. And somewhere in the shadows between dimensions, Lord Zenith watched, patient and hungry, waiting for the conflict that would feed his power and bring about the dimensional collision he had planned for eons. Chapter 2, Reluctant Allies, You Can Transform How Many Times Again? Goku sat cross-legged on the crystalline floor of the Crossroads training area, munching on what looked like a glowing blue apple. Ben scrolled through the Omnitrix holographic display. Last count was 70, but Azimuth keeps adding DNA samples without telling me. Could be more now. And each one has different powers. That's amazing. Goku tossed the core aside and grabbed another fruit from a hovering platter. In my world, I've spent my whole life just mastering my own body's potential. 3 days had passed in the Crossroads, though Paradox had mentioned time moved differently here, so Ben had no idea how that translated to their home dimensions. The training area had adapted to their needs, providing food, rest areas, and combat drones for practice. Your own body's potential includes shooting energy beams that can level mountains, Ben pointed out. I wouldn't exactly call that limiting. Goku laughed. Fair enough. But your way is cool too. Having the right tool for every job. Ben closed the Omnitrix display and leaned against a crystal column. That's one way to look at it. Though sometimes I miss the early days when I had no idea what I was doing. Slapping down the watch and hoping for the best. You still do that sometimes, Goku teased. Only when I'm in a hurry. Ben protested, then grinned. Or when the dial decides to give me something completely different from what I picked. A comfortable silence fell between them. Despite their radically different backgrounds, Ben had found himself warming to the Saiyan warrior. Goku approached everything, training, eating, even existential dimensional threats, with the same cheerful enthusiasm. It was hard not to like the guy. So, Ben finally asked, what's the deal with all your transformations? Super Saiyan 2. Oh. Goku's eyes lit up. They're not really transformations like yours. More like, power states. Each one unlocks more of my potential. Show me, Ben encouraged. Goku jumped to his feet. Alright. Might want to step back though. Ben obliged, moving to the edge of the training area. Goku took a deep breath, centering himself. This is my base form, he explained. Just regular old me. Regular old you who can fly and punch through steel, Ben muttered. Goku grinned. Then we have Super Saiyan. With a shout, golden energy erupted around him. His black hair stood upright, turning brilliant gold as his eyes shifted to teal. The transformation generated a wind that rustled Ben's jacket. This multiplies my power by 50, Goku explained casually, as if discussing the weather. 50 times. Ben's eyes widened. That's insane. Then there's Super Saiyan 2. Goku's aura intensified, electricity crackling around his body. His hair grew slightly sharper, more defined. Another doubling of power. The crystal floor beneath him began to crack under the pressure of his energy. Ben felt a tingling sensation as the power washed over him. And this, Goku's voice deepened, is Super Saiyan 3. His hair grew to his waist, golden energy pulsing outward in waves. His eyebrows disappeared, features sharpening as his power skyrocketed. The entire Crossroads trembled. This multiplies my Super Saiyan power by 4, Goku said through gritted teeth. Ben whistled, genuinely impressed. And I thought Automix packed a punch. Goku released the transformation, returning to his base form with a deep exhale. It burns a lot of energy though. Can't maintain it for long. What about those god forms was mentioned? Ben asked. Ah, those are. Goku's explanation was cut short as alarms blared throughout the crossroads. The crystal walls flashed red, the reflections showing disturbing images, cities under attack, strange creatures pouring through dimensional rifts, chaos spreading across multiple realities. That can't be good, Ben said, already activating the Omnitrix. A holographic projection of Paradox appeared in the center of the chamber. Benjamin, Goku. We have a situation. Multiple breaches have opened simultaneously. Zenith is accelerating his plans. Where do you need us? Goku asked, immediately serious. Whis is sending coordinates to the central console. You'll need to split up initially, the breaches are too widespread to address together. Split up. Ben frowned. I thought the whole point was for us to work together. It is, Paradox assured him. But we need to contain the initial outbreaks before they spread. You'll rendezvous once the immediate threats are neutralized. The professor's image flickered. I must go, temporal fluctuations are becoming unstable. The console will guide you. Good luck. The projection vanished. Ben and Goku exchanged looks. So much for the training period, Ben sighed. We'll figure it out on the job, Goku replied confidently. That's how I learn best anyway. They jogged to the central console, where two distinct coordinates pulsed on the dimensional map. Looks like I'm heading to what appears to be Bellwood? Ben studied the readings. But something's off about the energy signature. Mine's definitely not my Earth, Goku observed. The dimensional frequency is different. A pair of devices materialized beside the console, small wristbands with glowing buttons. Dimensional transporters, I'm guessing, Ben said, strapping one on opposite his Omnitrix. Goku did the same. How do we find each other once we're done? These probably have some kind of homing function, Ben theorized. Paradox thinks of everything. Usually. Goku raised an eyebrow. Let's just say time travel makes things complicated. Ben set his coordinates. Ready when you are. Goku nodded, his expression suddenly serious. Be careful out there. We still don't know what Zenith is really planning. You too. Try not to blow up any planets while I'm gone. No promises. Goku grinned, then pressed his transporter. A flash of light, and Ben was alone in the crossroads. He took a deep breath, checked his Omnitrix once more, and activated his own device. Here goes nothing. Reality warped around Ben, colors stretching and twisting before snapping back into focus. He found himself standing in what looked like Bellwood, but with subtle differences. The buildings were slightly off, the street layout familiar yet wrong. Like looking at his hometown through a funhouse mirror. Parallel dimension, he muttered. Great. The streets were eerily empty, abandoned cars lining the roads. In the distance, smoke rose from several buildings. Something had happened here, and recently. Ben twisted the Omnitrix dial. Better get a bird's eye view. Come on, Jetray. He slammed down the core, and in a flash of green, transformed into a 6-foot-tall humanoid plant. Swampfire. Seriously? Ben sighed, the methane smell wafting from his body. Fine, we'll do this the old-fashioned way. He took off running toward the source of the smoke. His plant form didn't have Jetray's speed, but it was durable and strong. As he rounded a corner, he found the source of the disturbance. A massive crystalline structure had erupted from the middle of downtown, sending shards through surrounding buildings. Around it, strange creatures patrolled, humanoid but with translucent skin, their internal organs visible and pulsing with an unnatural light. "Okay, those definitely aren't from around here," Ben whispered, ducking behind an overturned bus. One of the creatures turned sharply, sniffing the air. It made a clicking sound, alerting the others. They all oriented toward Ben's position. So much for stealth. Ben generated a ball of fire in his palm. "Let's see how you handle the heat." He hurled the fireball, striking the closest creature. Instead of burning, it absorbed the flame, its body glowing brighter. "That's not good." The creatures charged, moving with surprising speed. Ben launched himself over the bus, vines extending from his arms to snare two of them. They thrashed against his hold, their skin secreting an acid that began burning through his plant matter. Ow! Ben retracted his damaged vines. "Okay, fire's out, and you're acidic. Good to know." He slammed his palm against the Omnitrix symbol on his chest. "Let's try something else. Chroma stone." His body transformed into a crystalline being with magenta crystals protruding from his shoulders and chest. The creatures paused, seeming confused by the similarity between Ben's new form and the central structure. "Don't like it when the prey looks like your boss, huh?" Ben channeled energy through his body, violet light building between his hands. "Let's see what else you don't like." He fired a rainbow-colored energy beam that cut through three creatures at once. They dissolved into puddles of transparent goo, which quickly evaporated. The remaining creatures scattered, taking defensive positions around the crystal structure. "That's more like it," Ben advanced, absorbing ambient energy to power up his next attack. "Anyone else want to try?" A deep hum emanated from the central crystal. The structure pulsed with energy, and the creatures began to merge, flowing together into a larger, more formidable entity. "Me and my big mouth," Ben muttered. The merged creature towered 15 feet high, its form shifting constantly, acidic slime dripping from its limbs. It roared, a sound that vibrated on frequencies Ben could feel in his crystalline body. "Dimensional parasite," a voice spoke behind him. Ben spun around to find a familiar face, though not exactly the one he expected. Grandpa Max. The man who resembled his grandfather wore combat armor unlike anything Ben had seen in his own dimension. His right arm had been replaced with a mechanical prosthetic that hummed with energy. "Not your Max," the man corrected. "And you're not our Ben." "Another dimensional traveler?" "Something like that," Ben confirmed. "Care to fill me in on what those things are?" "Zenith scouts," not Max explained, raising his mechanical arm toward the creature. "They prepare dimensions for consumption." "Consumption?" "No time to explain." Not Max's arm transformed into a cannon. "That merger means the process has begun. We need to destroy the crystal before it stabilizes." The merged creature charged, each step leaving smoking footprints in the concrete. Ben positioned himself between it and not Max. "I'll distract Ugly here," he said. "You focus on the crystal." Not Max nodded grimly. "Don't let it touch you. It'll absorb your DNA into the collective." "Wasn't planning on getting cozy." Ben fired another energy beam, this one aimed at the creature's constantly shifting core. The blast staggered it momentarily. Ben took advantage of the opening to circle around, drawing it away from the crystal structure and not Max. The creature recovered quickly, lashing out with an elongated arm that Ben barely dodged. "Too slow," he taunted, firing concentrated bursts at its limbs. Each shot severed a portion of its mass, but the creature regenerated almost instantly. It was adapting to his energy pattern, becoming more resistant with each attack. Time for a new strategy. Ben slapped the Omnitrix again. "Big chill." His body transformed into the moth-like Necrophrygian, ethereal wings unfurling as his temperature plummeted. The creature hesitated, unable to track his now intangible form. "Let's see how you like the cold." Ben breathed out a freezing mist that encased part of the creature in ice. The frozen portions shattered, but unlike before, they didn't regenerate. The creature shrieked in apparent pain. Found your weakness, Ben grinned, circling for another pass. Behind him, not Max had reached the crystal structure. His mechanical arm reconfigured, drilling into the base of the formation. Each contact sent visible shockwaves through the crystalline mass. The creature sensed the attack on the structure and changed targets, abandoning Ben to charge toward not Max. Watch out! Ben shouted, diving to intercept. He phased through the creature, freezing it from the inside out as he passed through its mass. The creature's momentum carried it forward even as parts of it froze and shattered, crashing into the crystal structure and not Max. The impact triggered a reaction. The crystal glowed with blinding intensity, energy arcing between it, the creature, and not Max. Ben shielded his eyes, still intangible but feeling the dimensional energy pulse through even his phased state. When the light faded, the creature was gone. The crystal had changed color from transparent to pitch black. Not Max lay on the ground, his mechanical arm fused with crystal shards. Grandpa Max. Ben rushed to his side, turning tangible again. Are you okay? The man coughed, a trickle of blood running from his nose. Not, your grandfather. Remember? Right, sorry. Ben helped him sit up. What happened? The crystal rejected the merger. Not Max winced as he examined his crystallized arm. It's dying. That's good. And the creature? Reabsorbed into the dimensional flux. He struggled to his feet. We've stopped this incursion, but there will be others. Ben looked around at the devastated town square. Is everyone else evacuated? Not Max assured him. When the rift started appearing, we got most civilians to the shelters. The black crystal began to crack, fissures spreading across its surface. Not Max pulled Ben back. We need to clear the area. When it collapses, it'll release a dimensional shockwave. Ben transformed again. Celerate. The blue, velociraptor-like alien grabbed Not Max and dashed away at supersonic speed. They reached the outskirts of town just as an explosion rocked the downtown area, a visible pulse of energy expanding outward before dissipating. That was close, Ben said, reverting to human form once they were safe. Not Max studied him with an expression that mixed wonder and sadness. You really are him. Different, but the same. What happened to your Ben? He asked hesitantly. The man's face darkened. Zenith happened. 6 months ago, the first rifts appeared. Ben led the defense. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. I'm sorry, Ben said softly. Don't be. Not Max straightened, military training asserting itself. If you're here, it means there's still hope for the multiverse. Ben's dimensional transporter beeped. A holographic map projected from it, showing another anomaly, this one far from Bellwood. I have to go, Ben said. Another breach. Not Max nodded. Go. Save your dimensions. Don't let what happened here happen anywhere else. What about you? We'll rebuild. We always do. Not Max managed a small smile. It's what humans are good at. Ben activated the transporter coordinates. For what it's worth, he'd be proud of you. The way you've kept fighting. And he'd be proud of you too. Not Max raised his good hand in salute as light enveloped Ben. Good luck, Ben Tennyson. The multiverse is counting on you. The last thing Ben saw before reality shifted was the determination in the man's eyes, the same look his own grandfather got when the chips were down. Some things, it seemed, remained constant across dimensions. Goku materialized in what looked like a war zone. The sky burned red, the landscape cracked and broken as far as he could see. In the distance, a city lay in ruins, smoke rising from collapsed buildings. The air tasted like ash and something else, something alien. Definitely not home, he muttered, extending his senses. He detected multiple power signatures nearby, some human, others decidedly not. A battle was underway just beyond the ridge ahead. Goku shot into the air, flying toward the conflict. What he found shocked even his battle-hardened senses. A group of humans with various technological enhancements fought desperately against creatures that seemed to shift between solid and gaseous forms. The defenders were losing ground quickly. "Need a hand?" Goku called, descending into the fray. The humans looked up in shock. One of them, a woman with cybernetic implants along her spine, raised a weapon toward him. "Identify yourself," she demanded. Goku landed between her and an approaching creature. "Name's Goku. I'm here to help." Without waiting for her response, he launched into action. A quick ki blast dispersed the nearest creature, while a sweep kick knocked two more away from the injured. "Defenders. What are these things?" he asked, dodging an attack that would have taken his head off. "Zenith's harvesters," the woman replied, firing her weapon at another creature. "They consume life energy." Goku caught one creature's arm as it extended toward him, his grip tightening until the limb dissolved. They picked the wrong planet then. He powered up to Super Saiyan, golden aura flaring around him. The creatures reacted immediately, all orienting toward him as if drawn to his energy. "That's it," Goku realized. "They sense ki." "What are you doing?" the woman shouted as the creatures abandoned the other defenders to focus on Goku. "Your energy output is attracting them." "Exactly." Goku grinned, backing away from the group. "Get your people to safety. I'll handle these guys." He blasted into the air, the swarm of creatures following like moths to a flame. Once he'd drawn them far enough from the humans, Goku stopped, hovering as the creatures surrounded him. "You want energy?" His aura intensified. "Let's see how much you can handle." The creatures rushed him from all sides. Instead of dodging, Goku let his ki explode outward in all directions. The energy wave disintegrated the nearest attackers and sent the rest tumbling through the air. "They're not very tough," Goku noted as he watched them recover. "But there sure are a lot of them." The surviving creatures regrouped, their forms merging into larger, more substantial entities. Goku raised an eyebrow as three massive amalgamations took shape. "Now that's more like it." The first creature attacked, moving faster than its size suggested. Goku blocked its strike, the impact generating a shockwave that echoed across the wasteland. He countered with a flurry of punches that tore chunks from the creature's mass. Unlike the smaller versions, these amalgamations didn't disperse so easily. The damage Goku inflicted regenerated almost instantly, the creature learning from each exchange. "You adapt quick," Goku acknowledged, increasing his power. "Let's see how you handle this." He cupped his hands at his side, blue energy gathering between his palms. "Ka. Me." The creatures sensed the building power and charged simultaneously. "Ha. Me." They were seconds from reaching him. "Hiya." The blue beam erupted from Goku's hands, engulfing the lead creature entirely. When the energy dissipated, nothing remained of it. The other two paused, seemingly reassessing their strategy. "One down," Goku grinned. "Who's next?" The creatures changed tactics, circling him warily. One launched smaller projectiles from its body, living weapons that homed in on Goku's energy signature. The other began manipulating the atmosphere itself, creating a vortex that disrupted Goku's ki control. "Getting clever, huh?" Goku teleported away from the projectiles, reappearing behind one of the creatures. "Too slow." His fist plunged into its core, channeling energy directly into its being. The creature convulsed, its form destabilizing as Goku's ki overwhelmed its ability to adapt. With a final surge, Goku released enough energy to vaporize it completely. The last creature backed away, its form shifting rapidly as if cycling through configurations. Goku watched with interest as it settled on a new shape, one that mimicked his own silhouette. "Copying me?" Goku dropped into a fighting stance. Let's see what you've learned. The doppelganger attacked, its movements a crude imitation of Goku's fighting style. It even generated a facsimile of a ki blast, though the energy felt wrong, hollow somehow. Goku dodged the fake Kamehameha easily, noting how the attack consumed part of the creature's mass. You're using your own body as fuel. Not sustainable. He closed the distance, engaging the creature in hand-to-hand combat. Though it matched his movements, it lacked the understanding behind them, the decades of martial arts training that made Goku's techniques effective. Form without substance, Goku commented, slipping past the creature's guard to deliver a devastating uppercut. Power. Without discipline. The blow sent the doppelganger skyward. Goku followed, his speed leaving afterimages as he positioned himself above the creature. It's been fun, he said, gathering ki in his palm. But I've got other dimensions to save. A concentrated beam pierced the creature from above, coring it like an apple. Its form collapsed, dissolving into particles that scattered on the wind. Goku descended to where the human defenders had regrouped. The woman with cybernetic implants approached cautiously, her weapon lowered but ready. That was impressive, she admitted. You're not from this world. Nope, Goku confirmed. I'm from another dimension. Tracking rifts created by someone called Zenith. Her expression darkened. Zenith. The devourer of worlds. You know him. He's why our world looks like this. She gestured to the devastated landscape. 6 months ago, the sky tore open. His forces poured through, consuming everything in their path. How have you survived? Goku asked. Underground networks. Salvage technology. She tapped her implants. Adaptations. Goku noticed the other survivors more carefully now, all had modifications of some kind. Some technological, others more biological in nature. You changed yourselves to fight back. We had no choice. Her voice was matter-of-fact. Conventional weapons were useless against creatures that exist between dimensions. Goku's dimensional transporter beeped. A new set of coordinates appeared, along with a message from Whis, convergence detected. Priority Alpha. I have to go, Goku said. More rifts to close. The woman studied him. You're fighting Zenith directly? That's the plan. She reached into her pocket, retrieving a small device the size of a coin. Take this. It's a dimensional resonator. Our scientists developed it to disrupt the harvester's molecular cohesion. Goku accepted it carefully. Thanks. This might come in handy. If you find Zenith, she said as he prepared to depart, kill him. For all the worlds he's destroyed. Goku's expression grew solemn. I'll stop him. One way or another. The transporter activated, reality bending around him. The last image of the devastated world burned into his memory as he traveled between dimensions once more. Ben materialized in a realm unlike anything he'd seen before. The landscape stretched in impossible directions, gravity shifting unpredictably. Islands of rock floated in a void filled with colors that shouldn't exist, connected by bridges of pure energy. Talk about your non-Euclidean geometry, he muttered, trying to get his bearings. His transporter indicated he'd arrived at the correct coordinates, but there was no obvious threat, no creatures, no crystal formations. Just the bizarre, twisting reality of what appeared to be a dimension in flux. Hello? Ben called out, his voice echoing strangely. Anyone home? No response. He checked the Omnitrix, selecting an alien that might help navigate the unusual environment. Let's try Gravitac. Transformed into the planet-like alien, Ben could sense the gravitational anomalies more clearly. They weren't random, they followed patterns, like water circling a drain. Everything in this strange dimension was being pulled toward something. Ben altered his own gravitational field, allowing himself to float along the current. As he traveled deeper into the dimensional flux, the islands grew more fragmented, reality more unstable. In the distance, a massive vortex of energy swirled, the apparent center of the pull. That doesn't look natural, Ben observed. As he approached, he detected movement around the vortex, figures gliding through the chaos with purpose. They weren't like the creatures he'd encountered earlier. These beings had definite form, humanoid, but with elongated limbs and heads that seemed to change shape depending on the angle from which he viewed them. Dimensional engineers, a familiar voice said beside him. Ben turned to find Paradox, the professor's form flickering slightly in the unstable environment. Professor. What is this place? A dimension in the process of being consumed, Paradox explained grimly. What you're witnessing is the final stage before collapse. Ben watched the engineer-like beings manipulating the flows of energy. They're helping it along. Zenith's most loyal servants. They prepare dimensions for his consumption, weakening the barriers, establishing conduits. Like the crystal in that parallel bellwood? Paradox nodded. Exactly. Though this dimension is much further along in the process. Can we save it? The professor's expression was solemn. I'm afraid not. This reality is beyond salvation. But we can learn from it, understand Zenith's methods to prevent the same fate befalling your dimensions. Ben frowned. So we just watch it die. Sometimes, Benjamin, observation is the most painful but necessary action. Paradox pointed toward the engineers. Watch how they work. The knowledge may prove crucial. Reluctantly, Ben focused on the beings as they manipulated the dimensional energies. Their movements were precise, almost ritualistic, guiding the flows toward the central vortex. They're creating a pattern, Ben realized. Like a circuit or a web. Indeed. Zenith consumes dimensions by first connecting them, creating pathways that allow energy to flow between realities. The implications hit Ben suddenly. The portals that brought me and Goku together. The first strands of the web, Paradox confirmed. By bringing powerful beings into conflict, Zenith generates the energy required to accelerate the process. So if we hadn't stopped fighting, you would have unwittingly helped destroy your own realities. A tremor shook the dimension, islands crumbling as the vortex grew larger. The engineers moved with greater urgency, their forms blurring as they worked. It's accelerating, Paradox noted with academic detachment that barely masked concern. We should depart soon. Wait, Ben pointed to a new development, a tear opening near the vortex, different from the surrounding chaos. Is that, another dimension being connected to the web? Paradox's expression darkened. And not just any dimension. Through the tear, Ben glimpsed a familiar landscape, the crossroads where he and Goku had trained. He's targeting the Nexus, Ben realized with horror. If Zenith consumes the crossroads, all connected dimensions would be vulnerable. Paradox checked his pocket watch. Events are proceeding faster than anticipated. We must warn the others. The dimensional transporter on Ben's wrist beeped urgently. New coordinates appeared, along with a message, convergence detected. Priority Alpha. Goku's getting the same alert, Ben noted. Where's this convergence happening? A focal point where multiple dimensions intersect, Paradox explained, already beginning to fade from view. Meet me there. And Benjamin? Yeah. Be prepared for what you might find. Zenith will not reveal himself unless he has the advantage. With that cryptic warning, Paradox vanished. Ben cast one last look at the dying dimension, the engineers now turning their attention toward the tear leading to the crossroads. Not on my watch, he muttered, activating his transporter. Goku arrived at the convergence point first. Unlike the war-torn world he'd just left, this location seemed untouched, a vast plain beneath a purple sky with 3 moons visible despite the daylight. In the center of the plain stood a massive stone structure, like a temple but with architecture that defied conventional design. Hello. Goku called out, his voice carrying across the empty landscape. Anyone here? No response. He extended his senses, detecting faint energy signatures from within the temple. Not quite ki, but similar, life force of some kind. Guess I'll have to go in, he decided, approaching the structure cautiously. The entrance was a towering archway carved with symbols Goku didn't recognize. They seemed to shift slightly when viewed from different angles, as if the stone itself was fluid. Inside, the temple was larger than its exterior suggested, much larger. The ceiling soared hundreds of feet overhead, supported by columns that twisted impossibly. The floor descended in a gentle spiral toward a central chamber, where a soft light pulsed rhythmically. This place is weird, Goku muttered, making his way down the spiral. Feels like it's breathing. As he neared the central chamber, the energy signatures grew stronger. Goku dropped into a defensive stance, ready for anything. The chamber opened before him, a perfect sphere carved from what looked like obsidian but glowed with inner light. In the center floated a crystalline object about the size of a basketball, pulsing with the same rhythm as the temple's light. That's gotta be important, Goku reasoned, stepping into the chamber. Immediately, the pulse quickened. The crystal rotated, facets catching the light and projecting images onto the chamber walls, countless dimensions, countless worlds, all connected by threads of energy. A map, Goku realized. It's showing the dimensions. He moved closer, studying the projections. Among the many worlds displayed, he recognized several: his Earth, what appeared to be Ben's dimension, the crossroads, and the war-torn world he'd just left. All were connected to a central point that pulsed with dark energy. Zenith, Goku whispered, reaching toward the crystal. I wouldn't touch that if I were you, a voice echoed through the chamber. Goku spun around. In the entrance stood a figure that seemed to shift between forms, sometimes humanoid, sometimes something else entirely. Only the eyes remained constant, ancient, hungry eyes that glowed with the same dark energy as the central point in the projection. Zenith, Goku said, dropping into a fighting stance. In the flesh, the being replied, though its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. Or whatever passes for flesh in this particular dimension. What is this place? Goku demanded. What's that crystal showing? My web. Zenith glided into the chamber, reality rippling around him. My feast. Every connected dimension, every potential source of conflict energy. You're the one tearing holes between worlds. Goku's aura flickered gold as his anger rose. Destroying entire realities. Consuming, Zenith corrected. Nothing is destroyed, merely transformed. Absorbed into my being. Those were living worlds. With innocent people. Fuel, Zenith said simply. Delicious, energy-rich fuel. Goku's transformation completed, golden hair standing upright as Super Saiyan energy coursed through him. I won't let you destroy any more worlds. Zenith laughed, a sound that hurt Goku's ears and made the chamber tremble. You misunderstand your role, Saiyan. You're not here to stop me. You're here to feed me. Before Goku could respond, a flash of green light announced Ben's arrival. The teenager materialized at the opposite entrance to the chamber, Omnitrix already activated. Goku. Don't let him, Ben's warning cut off as he noticed Zenith. Too late. Ah, the wielder of the Omnitrix, Zenith's form shifted toward something more solid, more defined. My collection is now complete. Collection? Ben edged around the chamber, moving to join Goku. The most potent sources of conflict energy in the multiverse, Zenith gestured to the crystal, which now displayed images of Ben and Goku prominently among the projections. Brought together at last. That was your plan all along, Goku realized. Getting us to fight. And when that failed, Ben added, you used Vilgax and Frisia to try forcing the issue. Clever boys, Zenith approved. Though not clever enough. You're here now, aren't you? In my domain, at the nexus of my web. We came to stop you, Ben declared, cycling through the Omnitrix. You came because I wanted you here, Zenith countered. Every step, every portal, every battle, all orchestrated to bring you to this moment. The crystal pulsed more rapidly, the images on the walls shifting to show their previous encounters, Ben fighting the creatures in Bellwood, Goku battling the harvesters, all connected by threads of energy that flowed toward Zenith. Even conflict with my servants generates energy I can use, the dimensional entity explained. Though nothing compared to what you two could produce together. Not happening, Goku's aura intensified. We know your game now. Do you? Zenith's form solidified further, becoming more humanoid but still flickering at the edges. Then perhaps a demonstration is in order. He gestured toward the crystal. It pulsed once, blindingly bright, then projected a new image, the crossroads under attack. Dimensional engineers tore through the crystalline walls while creatures like those Ben and Goku had fought poured through the breaches. No. Ben's eyes widened. The Nexus. Currently being absorbed into my web, Zenith confirmed. With it, I gain access to all connected dimensions simultaneously. The feast will be magnificent. We need to get back there, Goku said urgently. Right now. Your transporters won't work here, Zenith informed them casually. This dimension exists outside the normal network. The only way out is through me. Then we go through you, Ben slammed down the Omnitrix. Way big. His body grew enormously, transforming into a red and white cosmic giant that towered even within the massive chamber. Ben's Tecuster form reached for Zenith, who merely laughed. Size means nothing between dimensions, the entity said, easily avoiding Ben's massive hand by stepping sideways through reality itself. Goku teleported behind Zenith, launching a punch empowered by Super Saiyan 2 energy. His fist connected, and passed through Zenith's form as if it were smoke. Physical attacks. Zenith sounded disappointed. I expected more creativity. He waved a hand dismissively. Energy rippled outward, catching both heroes and flinging them against the chamber walls. Ben crashed through one of the obsidian surfaces, creating a hole into another section of the temple. Goku embedded several feet into the wall before pulling himself free. Okay, Goku wiped a trickle of blood from his lip. Not your standard opponent. You cannot harm what exists between realities, Zenith explained, floating toward the crystal. I am everywhere and nowhere. I am, a massive green flash interrupted his monologue as Ben transformed again. Alien X. The starry-skinned Celestialsapian emerged from the rubble, cosmic power radiating from his form. Zenith paused, genuine interest crossing his features. A Celestialsapian? How fascinating. Your Omnitrix contains multitudes indeed. Let's take this to your level, Ben's echoing voice resonated with power. Reality against reality. Inside Ben's mind, Serena and Bellicus had already voted, the threat. Zenith pose transcended their usual bickering. Motion to expel the dimensional parasite, Bellicus had stated. Motion carried, Serena had agreed immediately. With full control granted, Ben extended his hand. Space warped around Zenith, cosmic forces bending to the Celestialsapian's will. For the first time, concern flickered across Zenith's features. His form distorted, struggling against Ben's reality manipulation. Impressive, he acknowledged, voice strained. But insufficient. Zenith's body fragmented, each piece slipping between dimensions before reforming. The crystal pulsed in sync with his movements, feeding him power from across the web. He's drawing energy from the connected dimensions, Ben realized. Goku. The crystal. Understanding immediately, Goku powered up to Super Saiyan 3, his hair lengthening as his power skyrocketed. He teleported to the crystal, hand outstretched. Oh no you don't, Zenith snarled, suddenly very present and solid. He intercepted Goku, catching the Scion's wrist before he could touch the crystal. The contact sent visible shockwaves through the chamber as two immense powers collided. You think I wouldn't protect my power source? Zenith's grip tightened, drawing energy directly from Goku's transformation. Every struggle feeds me. Goku grimaced as he felt his ki being drained. His hair began to shorten, Super Saiyan 3 fading back to Super Saiyan 2, then Super Saiyan 1. Delicious, Zenith hissed, growing more substantial with each second of contact. Your energy tastes of countless battles, Saiyan. So many transformations, so many limits broken. Goku. Ben tried to intervene, cosmic power reaching for Zenith. The dimensional entity laughed. By all means, add your power to the mix, Celestialsapian. Feed me both at once. Ben hesitated, realizing the trap. Direct confrontation was exactly what Zenith wanted, conflict energy to harvest. They needed a different approach. Inside his mind, Serena spoke urgently. We cannot defeat him through direct opposition. Each attempt strengthens him. Then we go indirect, Ben thought back. He shifted his focus from Zenith to the fabric of the dimension itself. Instead of attacking the entity, he began manipulating the reality around them, changing fundamental constants, altering the flow of time and energy. Zenith felt the shift immediately. What are you doing? His grip on Goku faltered as the rules of his domain began to change. Changing the game, Ben replied. If you exist between dimensions, let's see how you handle one with new rules. Goku broke free, jumping back as his ki stabilized. He caught Ben's strategy instantly, not attacking Zenith directly, but changing the environment to their advantage. My turn, Goku said, reaching into his pocket for the device the woman had given him, the dimensional resonator. Understanding bloomed in Zenith's eyes. No. He lunged for Goku, but too late. Goku activated the resonator and tossed it toward the crystal. The small device adhered to the crystalline surface and began to pulse, disrupting the energy patterns flowing through Zenith's web. What have you done? Zenith's form began to flicker more violently, parts of him becoming transparent as the resonator's effect spread. Disrupting your molecular cohesion, Goku explained, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. Gift from one of the worlds you tried to consume. The crystal's projections became erratic, the connections between dimensions fluctuating. Zenith screamed, a sound that existed on multiple frequencies at once, painful even to Ben's Celestialsapian form. You fools! Zenith's body stretched and contracted unnaturally. The web maintained stability. Disrupt it, and the dimensions collapse. The chamber began to shake, cracks appearing in the remaining walls as reality itself protested the changes Ben had implemented combined with the resonator's effect. He's right, Ben realized. We're causing a chain reaction. Goku teleported to his side. What do we do? We can't let him reconnect the web. Ben studied the projections as they spiraled into chaos. The connections were failing, but not cleanly, energy backflowed through the pathways, threatening to tear apart the connected dimensions from within. We need to stabilize the dimensions while keeping Zenith contained, Ben said, cosmic mind working through possibilities at incredible speed. Zenith laughed despite his deteriorating condition. Impossible. The web falls, all fall with it. Ben's Celestialsapian eyes narrowed. Nothing's impossible for Alien X. He extended both hands, cosmic energy flowing outward. Instead of attacking Zenith, Ben began reinforcing the boundaries between dimensions, creating buffers to absorb the backflow of energy. Goku, I need time, Ben said, his voice strained even with Alien X's power. Can you keep him busy? Goku nodded, powering back up to Super Saiyan 2 despite the earlier drain. Leave it to me. He charged Zenith, not grabbing or striking directly, but moving around him in a blur of speed, forcing the entity to defend from multiple angles simultaneously. Each time Zenith tried to phase away, Goku was there, hurting him away from the crystal and Ben. Annoying insect. Zenith snarled, lashing out with tendrils of dimensional energy. Goku dodged most, but one caught his leg, immediately beginning to drain his ki again. Instead of struggling, Goku reversed the energy flow, a technique he'd learned from fighting enemies like Cell and Bu who could absorb power. What? Zenith's surprise was evident as Goku's ki pushed back along the connection, disrupting his control. Energy flows both ways, Goku grinned, pushing harder. Basic principle. The backflow further destabilized Zenith's already compromised form. Parts of him began to dissolve into the dimensional currents Ben was creating. Meanwhile, Ben had succeeded in stabilizing most of the critical connections. The crossroads projection had solidified, the attack there contained if not yet repelled. His Earth and Goku's dimension were secure, buffer zones protecting them from the chaotic energies. Almost there, Ben called, reaching for the crystal itself with tendrils of cosmic power. No. Zenith broke away from Goku, lunging for the crystal. It's mine. Now, Goku. Ben shouted. Goku teleported to the crystal an instant before Zenith reached it. Instead of touching it, he placed his hands over the resonator and channeled his ki directly into the device. Kaioken. Red energy surrounded his golden aura, multiplying his power output. The resonator absorbed the enhanced ki, its disruption effect amplifying exponentially. The crystal shattered. Light exploded outward, blinding in its intensity. Zenith's scream transcended sound, becoming pure energy as his form was. Caught in the backlash. The chamber, the temple, the entire dimension seemed to contract around them. Ben! Goku shouted over the dimensional collapse. We need an exit. On it. Ben focused his celestialsapian powers, creating a pocket of stability around them as reality itself unwound. This way. A portal opened, not like the tiers Zenith had created, but a clean doorway between dimensions. Ben grabbed Goku's arm, pulling him through just as the temple imploded behind them. They emerged in the crossroads, tumbling onto the crystalline floor as the portal snapped shut behind them. Ben reverted to human form immediately, the strain of maintaining Alien X during such complex manipulation exceeding even the Celestialsapian's limits. Did we get him? Ben gasped, exhausted beyond measure. Goku, also drained from the combined Super Saiyan and Kaioken output, managed to sit up. I think so. He was right there when everything collapsed. Not exactly, a familiar voice said. They looked up to find Paradox and Whis standing over them, expressions grim but relieved. Zenith cannot be destroyed so easily, Paradox explained, helping Ben to his feet. He exists across dimensions. But you have dealt him a significant blow, Whis added, offering a hand to Goku. The destruction of his central nexus has scattered his consciousness and severely limited his ability to manipulate dimensional barriers. So he's still out there? Ben asked, disappointment evident. Yes and no, Paradox said cryptically. His consciousness survives, but without the web to channel energy, he is diminished, a shadow of his former self, drifting between dimensions. Goku frowned. That doesn't sound very reassuring. It will take him centuries, perhaps millennia, to rebuild his strength, Whis assured them. By then, we will have implemented new safeguards. Ben looked around the crossroads. The crystal walls showed signs of battle, cracks and scorch marks from the attempted invasion, but the structure remained intact. The engineers, he asked. Repelled, Paradox confirmed. Once the crystal nexus was destroyed, they lost their anchor in this dimension. And the other worlds? Goku asked. The people fighting in that war zone? Safe, for now, Whis said. Though many dimensions will bear scars from Zenith's attempt at consumption. Ben slumped against a crystal column. So that's it? We go home and wait for the next interdimensional crisis. Paradox chuckled. Not quite yet. There is still the matter of Vilgax and Frisia, or should I say, Apex. They escaped containment during the chaos, Whis explained. And they've grown stronger by absorbing residual energy from Zenith's collapsing web. Of course they did, Ben groaned. No rest for the heroes, huh? Goku, despite his exhaustion, perked up at the mention of a powerful opponent. So we get to fight them together this time. Properly? Indeed, Paradox confirmed. Though perhaps after you've both had a chance to recover. Dimensional travel and reality manipulation are rather taxing, even for beings of your capabilities. Food and rest materialized in a side chamber, a feast for Goku, smoothies and chili fries for Ben. Both heroes' eyes lit up at the sight. Whis and I will monitor the dimensional barriers while you recuperate, Paradox said. Apex appears to be consolidating power in a pocket dimension, likely preparing for another assault. We'll be ready, Ben promised, already moving toward the food. Indeed you will, Whis agreed with a knowing smile. I suspect your partnership has only begun to reveal its potential. As the Dimensional Guardians departed to their monitoring duties, Ben and Goku attacked the provided meal with equal enthusiasm, if vastly different quantities. So, Ben said between bites of chili fries, what's the verdict? Think we make a good team? Goku swallowed an impossible amount of food before answering. Definitely. Your transformations are amazing. That Alien X might even be stronger than Beerus. Don't tell him that, Whis called from across the chamber, having evidently overheard. Goku laughed. And what about you? What do you think of key techniques? Ben considered. Pretty impressive. Not as versatile as the Omnitrix, but the raw power is incredible. Maybe I could teach you some basics, Goku offered. Most humans from my world can learn to control ki with enough training. And maybe I could let you try the Omnitrix, Ben suggested, then quickly added, theoretically. If Azimuth ever allowed it. Which he wouldn't. They fell into comfortable discussion about their respective powers, experiences, and dimensions. Despite their different approaches, they found common ground in their commitment to protecting their worlds, and now, the multiverse itself. Later, as they prepared for the coming confrontation with Apex, Ben found himself oddly grateful for the dimensional crisis. Not for the danger or destruction, but for the partnership it had created. Different heroes from different worlds, united against a common threat. Ready for round 2 with the fusion squad? Ben asked, activating the Omnitrix. Goku stretched, his power restored after food and rest. Ready when you are. This time, we hit them together from the start. Ben nodded, a determined smile crossing his face. Together. As Paradox and Whis opened a portal to Apex's location, neither hero knew exactly what awaited them. But they knew one thing for certain, whatever came next, they would face it not as reluctant allies, but as friends, partners, and champions of the multiverse. Chapter 3, Heroes Across Dimensions. The dimensional portal crackled with energy as Ben and Goku stepped through. Not the clean doorway Paradox usually created, this one pulsed erratically, the edges unstable and fizzing with residual energy from Zenith's collapsed web. Whoa, Ben steadied himself as they emerged onto a barren landscape. That was rougher than usual. Goku rolled his shoulders, already scanning their surroundings. Paradox wasn't kidding about dimensional travel being harder now. The boundaries are healing, Paradox had explained before sending them off. Like scar tissue forming, tougher, but less permeable. They stood on what appeared to be an asteroid, a massive chunk of rock floating in a void that wasn't quite space. Colors swirled in the distance, ribbons of reality that hadn't fully separated after Zenith's defeat. So this is a pocket dimension? Ben asked, activating the Omnitrix's scanner. Feels unfinished. It's new, Goku confirmed, extending his senses. Formed from fragments of collapsed dimensions. Apex is building a nest. Ben raised an eyebrow. You can tell all that just by feeling the energy. When you've been to as many weird places as I have, you get a sense for these things. Goku grinned. The afterlife, the hyperbolic time chamber, Beerus's planet, they all have different energy signatures. Fair enough. Ben completed his scan. Life readings about 2 miles that way, behind those floating rocks. Strong ones. Yep. That's them all right. Goku's expression grew serious. Their power has definitely increased since we last fought. The fusion is more stable now. Ben nodded, twisting the Omnitrix dial. Any ideas for approaching them? Well, last time we tried the direct approach and got our butts kicked. Goku stretched, limbering up. Maybe we need to be smarter this time. Agreed. Apex absorbs energy, both your ki and my alien's powers. Ben cycled through transformation options. We need something that can counter that. Or we need to overload them, Goku suggested. Hit them with more than they can handle all at once. Ben paused, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. You know, that might actually work. If they've got a maximum capacity. Exactly. Like filling a balloon until it pops. Goku punched his palm. We just need the right combination. I think I know just the alien, Ben said, selecting a silhouette on the Omnitrix. But we'll need perfect timing. Goku nodded. I've got something in mind too. Something I've been working on. They quickly formed a plan, speaking in hushed tones despite the emptiness around them. When they finished, Ben extended his fist. Partners? He asked. Goku bumped his fist against Ben's, grinning. Partners. Now let's go crash their dimension warming party. Apex floated cross-legged at the center of a crude throne room, hollowed from the largest asteroid in the pocket dimension. The merged being had evolved since their last encounter, more defined, less chaotic in appearance. Vilgax's bulk remained dominant, but Frisia's bioarmor had integrated more seamlessly, creating a hybrid that radiated power. The boundaries continue to stabilize, Apex spoke in its dual-tone voice. Soon this realm will be completely severed from the dimensional network. Around the throne room, smaller creatures scurried, drone workers with characteristics of both Vilgax's robots and Frisia's foot soldiers, constructing technology into the rocky walls. And Zenith? Apex asked aloud, though there was no obvious recipient for the question. A shadow pulsed in the corner of the chamber, barely visible, a fragment of consciousness, a whisper of what had once been a multidimensional entity. Scattered. The shadow's voice was faint, little more than a vibration. But not gone. Your defeat was regrettable, Apex said, rising from its meditation. But perhaps necessary. You sought to consume us along with everything else. Temporary alliance. The shadow responded. Mutual benefit. Indeed. You provided the means to merge our forms and powers. We shall honor our agreement and help gather the energy you need to reconstitute. Apex flexed its clawed hands. Once the Tennyson boy and the Scion are eliminated. The shadow pulsed, a hint of eagerness in its fluctuations. Conflict energy. Yes. Their deaths will generate a substantial harvest. Apex smiled, revealing sharp teeth. And we have prepared a special welcome for them. A drone approached, bowing deeply. Masters, the perimeter sensors have detected energy signatures approaching from Sector 3. Right on time. Apex's eyes gleamed with anticipation. Prepare the absorption arrays. And awaken the Guardians. Throughout the asteroid, embedded crystals began to glow, similar to the ones Ben had encountered in the parallel Bellwood, but refined, improved. The drone workers scurried with greater urgency, activating systems built into the very rock. Apex turned to the shadow. Find a safe observation point, Remnant. The conflict that restored your master will begin shortly. The shadow flickered, then vanished, sliding between reality's cracks to watch from the safety of non-space. Apex strode to a viewing platform overlooking the asteroid field. In the distance, two figures approached, one flying with golden energy surrounding him, the other soaring on fiery wings. Heat blast, Apex identified Ben's transformation. An interesting choice for vacuum conditions. And Goku in basic Super Saiyan form. The merged being laughed. They're conserving energy. How adorable. The fusion raised an arm. Across the asteroid field, defensive turrets emerged from hidden compartments, tracking the approaching heroes. Let's see how they handle the welcoming committee. Incoming. Ben shouted, banking hard to avoid a barrage of energy blasts. Goku dodged effortlessly, the beams passing harmlessly through the space he'd occupied milliseconds before. They know we're here. So much for the element of surprise. Ben generated a massive fireball, launching it at the nearest turret. The weapon exploded satisfyingly. New plan. Same plan, just louder. Goku grinned, blasting through 2 more turrets with precise key shots. They weaved through the asteroid field, destroying defenses as they went. Ben's pyronite form was particularly effective in the oxygen-free environment. Without atmosphere to regulate his flames, he burned hotter and brighter than on Earth. There. Goku pointed to the largest asteroid, a small moon, really, with a structure built into its surface. That's where the energy signature is coming from. Race you there. Ben accelerated, flame trail stretching behind him. You're on. Goku's aura flashed brighter as he surged forward. As they approached the main asteroid, the space before them shimmered. From nowhere, massive creatures appeared, behemoths with aspects of the ultimate forms from Ben's Omnitrix mixed with characteristics of enemies Goku had fought. Guardians. Ben pulled up short. Look out. The first creature, resembling Ultimate Humongousaur but with Frisia's bioarmor and tail, roared silently in the vacuum before charging Goku. The Scion met it head-on, the impact creating a visible shockwave despite the lack of atmosphere. These things are tough. Goku called as he grappled with the Guardian. Engineered specifically for us. Ben faced his own opponent, a hybrid of Ultimate Echo and what appeared to be a Ginyu Force member, firing sonic discs that somehow functioned in space. He barrel-rolled to avoid them, returning fire with concentrated heat blasts. Apex has been busy. Ben shouted back. Must have used DNA from both our dimensions. More Guardians emerged from camouflage, a dozen in total, each designed to counter specific abilities from both heroes. Ben and Goku found themselves quickly surrounded, fighting back-to-back against the onslaught. This working out how you planned? Goku asked, deflecting energy beams from 3 Guardians simultaneously. Not exactly, Ben admitted, creating a fire shield to block sonic attacks. But it's a good distraction. Goku nodded, understanding immediately. While half the Guardians focused on him, he teleported away, appearing directly before the entrance to Apex's stronghold. The sudden movement caught the Guardians off guard, their formations breaking as they tried to reorient. Ben, now! Goku shouted, firing a massive ki blast at the entrance. On it! Ben slapped the Omnitrix symbol on his chest. Atomix! The nuclear alien's appearance shifted the tide instantly. Concentrated energy gathered between his hands as he hovered above the Guardians. HMENA. Ben chanted, the energy sphere growing to massive proportions. Nuclear winner. The blast engulfed 3 Guardians entirely, vaporizing them. More importantly, it created a gap in their formation, a path straight to where Goku had breached the stronghold's outer wall. Ben flew through the opening at full speed, joining Goku inside the structure just as more Guardians converged on their position. That was close. Goku said, blasting the ceiling to cause a cave-in that temporarily blocked pursuit. Too close, Ben agreed, the nuclear energy around his form illuminating the dark corridor. Apex knew we were coming. Of course we did, the merged voice echoed through the hallway. We've been preparing for nothing else. Apex stepped from the shadows ahead, arms crossed confidently. Up close, the fusion's evolution was even more apparent, no longer the chaotic amalgamation of Vilgax and Frisia, but a refined, purposeful merger of their strengths. Welcome to our new home, Apex gestured around them. Modest, but growing. Soon it will be a proper dimension, one where we reign supreme. Nice place, Goku commented casually. But the neighbors seem unfriendly. And the decorating could use work, Ben added, nuclear light revealing absorption crystals embedded throughout the walls. What's with the night lights? Apex smiled coldly. Insurance. This entire structure is designed to harvest your energy. Every blast you fire, every transformation you make, all feed us. The more you struggle, the stronger we become. Yeah, we figured that might be the case, Ben said, sharing a knowing look with Goku. Which is why we decided on a different approach this time, Goku added. Apex raised an eyebrow ridge. Oh. Do tell. Instead of answering, Goku and Ben split apart, dashing down opposite corridors that branched from the main hallway. Apex laughed, seemingly amused by their tactic. Running won't save you, the fusion called after them. This entire dimension is our body now. There's nowhere to hide. The walls pulsed with energy, crystals lighting up in sequence to track the hero's movements through the complex. Apex followed leisurely, confident in the inevitable outcome. Ben raced through twisting corridors, Atomix's nuclear glow lighting his way. According to the plan, he needed to reach the core of the structure, where the dimension's anchor point would likely be located. Vilgax loves his central control rooms, Ben muttered to himself. And Frisia seems the theatrical type too. They'll have a throne room or command center somewhere. A group of drone workers appeared ahead, wielding energy weapons. Ben didn't slow down. Sorry, no time for minions. He barreled through them, nuclear aura protecting him from their attacks. Boss fight only today. The drones scattered, more annoying than threatening. Ben continued deeper into the complex, following the increasing density of absorption crystals. The more there were, the closer he had to be to something important. Meanwhile, Goku faced his own challenges. He'd chosen the corridor that led upward, toward what felt like a power source. The Guardians had regrouped and now pursued him through the twisting passageways. Come on, guys, he called back to them. You'll have to do better than that. He fired precise ki blasts at the ceiling, causing strategic cave-ins to slow his pursuers without completely blocking the path. According to the plan, he needed them following him, just not catching him too quickly. Almost there, Goku muttered as he sensed a massive energy concentration ahead. Hope Ben's holding up his end. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, exactly what they'd been searching for. A control room of sorts, dominated by a crystal similar to the one they destroyed in Zenith's Nexus, though smaller. Around it, technology from both Vilgax and Frisia's worlds had been integrated into a single system. Bingo, Goku said, surveying the room quickly. Behind him, the Guardians burst through the rubble, blocking the exit. Ahead, more emerged from side passages, surrounding him. Goku smiled. Perfect. He dropped into a fighting stance, power building around him. Alright then. Who's first? Ben finally found what he was looking for, a massive circular chamber at the asteroid's core. Unlike the rough-hewn corridors, this room was perfectly smooth, the walls lined entirely with absorption crystals that pulsed in harmony. At the center floated what appeared to be a miniature black hole, contained within a force field. The dimensional anchor, Ben realized. This is what's holding the pocket dimension together. Impressive, isn't it? Apex's voice came from behind him. A sliver of the void between dimensions, stabilized and harnessed. Ben turned to find the fusion standing in the entrance, blocking his escape. Did you really think we would fall for such an obvious diversion? Apex laughed. Splitting up. The oldest trick in the heroic playbook. Worth a shot, Ben shrugged, nuclear energy continuing to build around his form. Besides, who said it was a diversion? Apex narrowed its eyes. What are you planning, Tennyson? Just a little experiment. Ben began channeling energy toward the anchor. You say you can absorb any energy we throw at you, right? Let's test that theory. The fusion moved with surprising speed, closing the distance between them in an instant. Stop! Ben dodged the first strike, but the second caught him squarely in the chest, sending him flying into the crystal wall. The impact sent shockwaves through the chamber, crystals lighting up as they absorbed the energy. Foolish child, Apex growled, stalking toward him. You cannot overload us. We have prepared for every contingency. Ben struggled to his feet, Atomix's form cracked but still functional. Every contingency? Really? That's a lot of planning. We have had time to consider all possibilities, Apex boasted. While you and the Scion played in the crossroads, we analyzed your capabilities extensively. All my aliens? All of Goku's transformations? Of course. Apex gestured around them. These crystals contain countermeasures for every form in the Omnitrix, every technique in Goku's arsenal. That's impressive, Ben admitted. Really thorough. Indeed. Your Celestialcipian form was particularly challenging to account for, but even cosmic power can be redirected with proper preparation. Ben nodded thoughtfully. So you're ready for anything I might transform into? Any energy I might throw at you? Precisely. Apex smiled coldly. At last you understand the futility of your situation. I understand something, all right. Ben's damaged Automix form began to glow brighter. I understand you talk too much, just like Vilgax and Frisia separately. Before Apex could respond, Ben slammed the Omnitrix symbol on his chest. Instead of the usual transformation, however, a different sequence activated, one Apex hadn't seen before. Omnitrix fusion sequence initiated, the device announced in Asmitha's voice. What? Apex stepped back in shock. Green light enveloped Ben, but instead of settling into a single alien form, it pulsed rapidly, cycling through multiple transformations simultaneously. When the light faded, Ben stood transformed, but not into any recognizable alien. His body combined aspects of multiple forms. Diamondhead's crystalline structure formed a core, overlaid with NRG's containment suit, while Feedback's plugs and antennae extended from his shoulders and back. His right arm resembled Atomix's, his left Chromastone's. Energy crackled around him, shifting through colors representing different aliens. Omnitrix fusion mode, Ben announced, his voice carrying harmonics from multiple alien species. Something Asmith added recently. For emergencies only. Apex's confidence faltered visibly. This changes nothing. We can still absorb whatever energy you generate. Maybe, Ben conceded. But can you identify what you're absorbing when it's coming from 10 different alien DNA sources simultaneously? He extended his hands, and pure energy, not matching any known pattern, erupted from his palms. Apex raised defensive barriers, absorption crystals activating to process the incoming attack. The energy struck the barriers and did something unexpected. Instead of being absorbed, it began to refract, splitting into multiple energy types that the crystals couldn't categorize properly. Some shattered from the contradictory inputs, others began to overload. Impossible. Apex snarled, reinforcing the barriers with its own power. What is this? A little something I like to call, too much of a good thing, Ben replied, increasing the energy output. Your systems are designed to absorb and categorize specific energy types. But when the energy is constantly changing, constantly contradicting itself. Cracks appeared in more crystals as the system struggled to process the input. Apex's form began to flicker slightly, the fusion destabilizing as its supporting infrastructure failed. You cannot maintain that form for long, Apex growled, pressing forward against the energy barrage. It will drain your Omnitrix completely. I don't need long, Ben replied. Just long enough for Phase 2. In the control room, Goku stood surrounded by guardians, bruised but smiling. He'd been fighting defensively, conserving energy while keeping the creatures occupied and focused entirely on him. You guys are pretty good, he acknowledged. But I think it's time we wrap this up. He placed his fingers to his forehead and vanished, teleporting across the room to the central crystal. The Guardians roared in frustration, charging his new position. Now for the fun part, Goku grinned, his aura shifting from gold to a divine blue. Super Saiyan Blue. The transformation completed instantly, a technique he'd been practicing to minimize energy expenditure. The godly ki radiated from him, causing the nearest Guardians to falter. This power was different from what they'd been designed to counter. Goku placed his hands on the crystal and began channeling energy directly into it, not attacking, but feeding it exactly what it wanted. The crystal glowed brighter, absorbing the divine ki eagerly. That's right, Goku encouraged it. Take it all. As much as you can handle. Throughout the complex, the absorption network activated fully, crystals lighting up as they channeled the massive influx of godly energy. The system had been designed to handle enormous power, but not this specific type, and not directed in this particular way. In the core chamber, Apex sensed what was happening. "What are you doing?" it demanded, suddenly defensive. "Stop him." Too late, Ben replied, his fusion form continuing to overload the local systems. Goku's not fighting the absorption, he's helping it. Feeding it more than it can process. You'll destroy the entire dimension. Apex realized with horror. Including yourselves. Maybe, Ben admitted. Or maybe we have an exit strategy you haven't considered. The floor beneath them trembled as power surged through the complex's systems. In the control room, Goku increased his output further, pushing into the Kaioken technique on top of his blue transformation. Kaioken times 20. Red energy surrounded his blue aura, and the crystal began to crack under the strain. The Guardians, sensing the imminent catastrophe, tried to stop him, but the energy field around Goku had become impenetrable, a barrier of pure, concentrated ki that vaporized anything that touched it. Simultaneously, Ben directed his chaotic energy toward the dimensional anchor. The miniature black hole within the containment field began to fluctuate, expanding and contracting rapidly as contradictory energies disrupted its stability. "You fools!" Apex charged Ben directly, desperate to stop the cascade failure. "You'll doom us all." Ben met the charge head-on, his fused form matching Apex's strength. "Not all of us. Just your little pocket dimension." They grappled at the edge of the dimensional anchor, energy crackling between them. Apex tried to drain Ben's power directly, but the constantly shifting alien energies made it impossible to establish a consistent connection. "Ben!" Goku's voice came through the communicator Paradox had provided. "Crystal's about to blow. 10 seconds. Copy that." Ben replied, his grip on Apex tightening. "Right on schedule." The fusion struggled furiously. "Release me." "What's wrong?" Ben taunted. "I thought you wanted our energy. Now you're getting it all at once." Throughout the asteroid, systems failed catastrophically. The absorption network, overwhelmed by Goku's divine ki, began to collapse. The dimensional anchor, destabilized by Ben's chaotic energy, started to consume itself. 5 seconds. Goku warned. Ben activated his communicator with his free hand. Paradox. Now would be good. Indeed it would, the professor's calm voice replied an instant before a blue portal opened behind Ben. No. Apex roared, realizing their plan. Ben released the fusion with a hard shove, directly toward the destabilizing anchor. Happy landings. He dove through Paradox's portal just as the control room crystal shattered completely. The explosion of divine ki rippled through the complex, meeting the imploding dimensional anchor in a cataclysmic reaction that tore the pocket dimension apart from within. Ben tumbled through the portal, reverting to human form as the Omnitrix timed out from the massive energy expenditure. He landed hard on the crystal floor of the crossroads, rolling to a stop against a column. Cutting it a bit close, weren't we? Paradox observed, helping him to his feet. Did Goku make it? Ben asked immediately, looking around. A second portal opened, this one bearing Whis' energy signature. Goku stepped through, his transformations dropped, looking exhausted but triumphant. That, the Scion announced with a broad grin, was awesome. Ben laughed despite his fatigue. It actually worked. The overload strategy actually worked. Indeed it did, Whis confirmed, examining a projection of where the pocket dimension had been. Most impressive improvisation, both of you. What happened to Apex? Ben asked. Paradox manipulated the Crossroads central console, bringing up an image of swirling dimensional debris. Caught in the collapse, I'm afraid. Without a stable dimension to anchor them, the fusion couldn't maintain cohesion. So Vilgax and Frisia are. Ben left the question hanging. Separated and expelled to their respective dimensions, Whis explained. Though I suspect they'll remember enough of the experience to be troublesome in the future. They always are, Goku said cheerfully. Wouldn't be much fun otherwise. Ben shook his head in amazement. Only you would consider those two fun, Goku. And what of Zenith's remnant? Whis asked Paradox. The Time Walker's expression grew serious. Scattered further by the collapse, but not eliminated. It will take centuries for him to reconstitute even a fraction of his former power. By which time we'll have established new dimensional protocols, Whis added. Lord Beerus and the other destroyers are already implementing safeguards in their respective universes. And Azimuth has agreed to assist with cross-dimensional monitoring technology, Paradox confirmed. The next attempt will not find us so unprepared. Ben collapsed onto a crystalline bench that formed beneath him, the events of the past days catching up all at once. So that's it. Crisis averted, go home, see you next apocalypse. In essence, yes, Paradox smiled. Though I wouldn't characterize it so dismissively. You've both accomplished something remarkable, prevented the collapse of multiple dimensions and defeated adversaries who very nearly succeeded in their ambitions. Not to mention, Whis added with a mischievous smile, you've established quite the interesting partnership. The Omnitrix wielder and the Super Scion, working together across dimensions. It has a certain poetic quality. Goku sat beside Ben, his seemingly inexhaustible energy finally showing signs of depletion. It was pretty cool. Your fusion mode thing was amazing. I didn't know the Omnitrix could do that. It's not supposed to, Ben admitted. Azimuth added it as an absolute last resort. Draws power from multiple DNA samples simultaneously, incredibly unstable and drains the Omnitrix completely. I'll be lucky if it recharges within a week. Worth it though, Goku said. We couldn't have overloaded their systems otherwise. Whis provided refreshments, water for Ben, some unidentifiable but clearly nutritious beverage for Goku. What about the dimensions Zenith damaged? Ben asked after drinking deeply. The parallel Bellwood, that war-torn Earth we saw. Some will recover on their own, given time, Paradox explained. Others will require more direct intervention. But the immediate danger has passed. And your home dimensions remain safe and stable, Whis assured them. Though there may be some side effects from the recent dimensional turbulence. Side effects? Goku asked. Nothing serious, Whis waved a hand dismissively. Perhaps a few temporal anomalies, some blending of dimensional aspects. People with particularly sensitive perceptions might experience déjà vu or unusual dreams for a time. Great, Ben sighed. More weird to add to my already weird life. You wouldn't have it any other way, Paradox pointed out with a knowing smile. Ben couldn't argue with that. For all the danger and stress, part of him had genuinely enjoyed the adventure, especially working with someone who understood what it meant to carry the responsibility of being your dimension's defender. So, Goku said after a comfortable silence had settled between them, we never did figure it out. Figure what out? Ben asked. Who would win in a fight? You or me? Ben laughed. Seriously? After all this, you're still thinking about that? Well, yeah. Goku grinned. I mean, we fought together, but we never really fought each other properly. I'm curious. Paradox and Whis exchanged amused glances. Perhaps some questions are better left unanswered, Paradox suggested diplomatically. Oh come on. Goku protested. Just theoretically. Ben's got all those transformations, but I've got raw power and technique. Alien X could literally rewrite reality, Ben pointed out. But you need permission from those personality guys first, Goku countered. I could knock you out before you convinced them. Not if I went clockwork and froze time. Ultra Instinct might be able to move even in frozen time. The debate continued, growing more animated as both heroes recovered their energy. Paradox and Whis gradually withdrew, leaving them to their good-natured argument. They'll be at this for hours, Whis observed from across the chamber. Let them have their fun, Paradox replied. They've earned it. Days later, though days had little meaning in the crossroads, it was time for Ben and Goku to return to their respective dimensions. The Omnitrix had finally recharged, and the dimensional barriers had stabilized enough for safe passage. Well, Ben said awkwardly as they stood before their separate portals, it's been interesting. That's one word for it. Goku laughed. We should do this again sometime. Without the whole dimensions collapsing thing, maybe. I'm pretty sure Paradox and Whis want to avoid any unnecessary dimensional crossings for a while, Ben pointed out. Right, right. Goku scratched the back of his head. Still, it was fun fighting alongside you. Your aliens are really something else. And your transformations aren't too shabby either, Ben admitted. That divine key thing is pretty impressive. They stood in silence for a moment, neither quite ready to leave. You know, Ben finally said, we never did settle the question. Which one? Who would win? Maybe it's better that way, keeps the mystery alive. Goku grinned. Or maybe we both would. Different strengths, different approaches. Maybe, Ben agreed. Though my money's still on Alien X. And mine's on Ultra Instinct. They laughed together, the competitive spirit that had initially set them against each other now the foundation of an unlikely friendship. Paradox cleared his throat from beside the control console. While this farewell is touching, the dimensional windows won't remain optimal forever. Right, Ben nodded, extending his hand to Goku. Guess this is it. Goku shook it firmly. For now, anyway. Something tells me the multiverse isn't done with us yet. It rarely is, Whis commented with a knowing smile. Ben stepped toward his portal, a swirling green vortex that somehow felt like home. Goku approached his own, blue energy that resonated with his ki. Oh, and Ben. Goku called just before stepping through. Yeah. If some weird squid-faced alien shows up claiming to be Emperor of the Universe, don't believe him. The real Emperor is much shorter and purple. Ben laughed. And if you meet a short guy with white hair claiming to be the creator of your universe, show some respect, he bites when he's angry. With final waves, they stepped through their respective portals, returning to the dimensions they each called home, changed by their experiences, strengthened by their partnership, and perhaps a little wiser about the vast multiverse they both helped protect. Ben materialized in Bellwood's Plaza, exactly where he'd been pulled into the dimensional adventure days earlier. The damage from the drone attack had been cleared away, the area returning to normal as if nothing had happened. His phone buzzed immediately with missed calls and texts, dozens from Gwen and Kevin, a few from Grandpa Max. Apparently, he'd been missing for 3 days in Earth time. Great, Ben muttered. More explaining to do. As he scrolled through the messages, movement caught his eye, a man in a long coat watching him from across the street. For a moment, Ben thought it might be Paradox again, but the figure was different, taller, with spiky hair that seemed oddly familiar. When Ben looked directly at him, the man smiled and raised 2 fingers to his forehead in a salute before vanishing into thin air. Ben blinked, wondering if he'd imagined it. Dimensional side effects, he reminded himself, though he couldn't help smiling. His phone rang, Gwen calling for the 20th time. "Hey Gwen," he answered casually. "You won't believe the weekend I just had." Goku appeared on the lookout platform where he'd departed, startling Dend and Mr. Popo who had been tending the gardens. "Goku!" Dend exclaimed. "You're back. It's been almost a week." "A week?" Goku scratched his head. "Wow, time really does move differently between dimensions." "Dimensions?" Mr. Popo asked. "So that's where you've been. Everyone's been looking for you." "Yeah, sorry about that." Goku laughed sheepishly. "Kind of got pulled into an interdimensional crisis. Had to save the multiverse, you know how it is." Before they could question him further, Goku sensed a familiar energy signature approaching rapidly. Vegeta landed on the platform, arms crossed and expression stormy. "Kakarot. Where the hell have you been? I've been stuck training alone all week." "Ah, did you miss me, Vegeta?" Goku teased. "Don't be absurd." Vegeta snapped, though his relief was poorly concealed. "Bulma insisted I help look for you. Something about Chi-Chi threatening to tear apart West City if you weren't found." Yikes, Goku winced. "I'd better get home fast. Chi-Chi's going to kill me." "Before you rush off," Vegeta said, studying him curiously, "your energy feels different. What happened to you?" Goku considered how to explain everything: dimensional travel, Zenith, Apex, and especially Ben Tennyson with his watch full of alien transformations. "It's a long story," he finally said. "Involving a teenager who can turn into aliens and a squid-faced warlord who merged with Frieza." Vegeta stared at him blankly. "Have you lost your mind, Kakarot?" "Nope. But I did learn some cool new techniques." Goku grinned mischievously. "Want to see?" "This one's called Diamond Head." In the void between dimensions, a fragment of consciousness drifted, the remnant of Zenith, scattered but not destroyed. It would take centuries to regain even a fraction of its former power, but time meant little to a being that existed across realities. The fragment observed the receding energies of Ben Tennyson and Goku as they returned to their respective dimensions. Such potential in both of them, potential that would only grow with time. Patience. That was the key. The multiverse was infinite, the possibilities endless. Sooner or later, the barriers would thin again. Dimensions would brush against each other. Heroes would rise to the challenge. And Zenith would be waiting, ready to feast once more on the conflict energy only they could generate. Until then, it would watch. And remember. And plan. After all, what was time to a being that existed in all dimensions at once? The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.